Ram, 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 Ram. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Chapter 6, read first verse. Anachita Kama. One who is unattached to his fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated is in the renowned order of life, and he is the true mystic, not and performs no duty. No niragni, no chakriya, niragni, no fire, lights, no fire. Second verse, read from second verse. Jang sannasam iti rahur jagam tam vitti pandava nahi asannasta sankalpo yogi bhavati kashtana. Jam, what? Sannasam, renunciation, iti. Thus, Prabhu, they say, Jagam, linking with the Supreme, Tam, that, Vidhi, you must know, Pandava, Osana, Pandu. No, never, he, certainly. Asannasta, without giving up. Sankalpa, desire for self-satisfaction. Yogi, a mystic, transcendentalist. Bhavat becomes Kashchana, anyone. What is called renunciation? Renunciation, you should know to be the same as yoga, or linking oneself with the Supreme. Osana Pritha, for one can never become a yogi unless he performs, unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification. Jam shannasham iti praho. By shannasham, by tyag, by renunciation, what do you Sannyas. Sannyas, I don't like, just I can give you one example. There is some food. No, I don't want to eat. I will not eat. But when that person is giving that food to someone, that is he's not only eating, also giving to someone. It's like he's not eating, means he's sannyasi, example, and he's feeding his child. He's yogi. Then he was feeding his child. He's already an innocent. He's not eating. So no need of talking about that. But at the same time, next that, nahi asannasya sankalpa. If you don't give up that eating, then you cannot feed your child. Oh, you don't one glass and then another to his child. So nahi asannasya sankalpa. If you are not renounces, there's no question of becoming yogi. So clear. Bhagavad Gita so clearly explained how important the bhakti is. That is called enunciation. You should know to be the same as yogi, or linking oneself with the Supreme. O son of Pandu, for one can never become a yogi unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification. Real sannyasa yoga or bhakti yoga means sannyas real sannyas means bhakti. Means that one should know his constitutional position as the living entity and act accordingly. This is the definition of mukti. What is the definition of mukti? Mukti-rittha annutaropam swarupena vyavastha. Mukti means hittha annutarupam. Mukti means give up all other type of designation. Swarupena vyavastha. When one understand, I am the servant of Krishna, he is really renounced. Mukti-rittha annutaropena. Swarupena vyavastha. That is the here Prabhupada translated. The living entity has no separate independent identity. He is the marginal energy of the Supreme. When he is entrapped by material energy, he is conditioned. And when he is Krishna conscious or aware of the spiritual energy, then he is in his real and natural state of life. Therefore, when one is in complete knowledge, one ceases all material sense gratification or renounces all kinds of sense gratificatory activities. This is practiced by the yogis who restrain the senses from material attachment. But a person in Krishna consciousness has no opportunity to engage his senses in anything which is not for the purpose of Krishna. Therefore, a Krishna conscious person is simultaneously a sannyasi and a yogi. The purpose of knowledge and of restraining the senses as prescribed in the Gyan and Yoga processes is automatically served in Krishna consciousness. If one is unable to give up the activities of his selfish nature, then Jnana and Yoga are of no avail. The real aim is for a living entity to give up all selfish satisfaction and to be prepared to satisfy the Supreme. A Krishna conscious person has no desire for any kind of self enjoyment. He is always engaged for the enjoyment of the Supreme. One who has no information of the Supreme must therefore be engaged in self satisfaction, because no one can stand on the platform of inactivity. All purposes are perfectly served by the practice of Krishna consciousness. Verse 3. Arurukha munir yogam karma karanam uchyate. Yogarurish tashiv shama karanam uchyate. The same point Krishna is trying to explain us to understand. There is so many places. Before in second chapter, so third chapter, fourth chapter, here, second verse, the third verse. Again it will come in the 18th chapter. What is Arjuna is again asking? What is sannyas? What is tag? That sannyas means only giving. But tag means by knowing is not belongs to me. Then automatically listen. Here also, Arurukshu, Arurukshata, who has just begun yoga. Arurukshu, that means Rukshu means desire. Mumukshu, who want to liberate. Bhuvukshu, who want to eat. Didrikshu, who want to see. Same way, Arurukshu, those who want to Arohan. Arohan means ascent. Arurukshu, ascent. As the yoga process is a ladder, those who want to ascend in this yoga process, very simple word, said, who has just begun yoga, means the yoga ladder he has just started. Aruruksha, Mune of the sage, Yogam, the eightfold yoga system. Karma, work, Karanam, it means Uchate is said to be yoga, eightfold yoga, means Ashtanga yoga. Arursa, Arurasa, of one who has attained. See, these two words, Arurukshu, who wants to ascend, wants to attain, and Aruraha, Arura means already attained, and Arurasa means that person of one. And in Sanskrit, Shashti Vibhakti. Asa means of one who. I just of one who. Is the Krishna Sa of Krishna. Tasya is Aru Rasa of one who has attained. So two persons. One is one who just began and already attained. Aru Rasa. Tasya he was certainly Shama, cessation of all material activities. Karanam, it means Uchate is said to be. For one who is a neophyte in Eightfold Yoga system, means Aru Rukshu, who it wants. For him, war is said to be the means. For him, war is said to be the means. He should war. But, and for one who is already elevated in the yoga, cessation of all material activities said to be the means. So those are neophyte. Neophyte, they have to is said to be the means. And you already added, then cessation of all material activities. All material activities. Here, Prabhupada has given so nice translation. Shama karanam uchyate. Karanam. Shama, cessation of all material activities. Karanam, the means, uchyate. Shama, cessation. For the neophyte devotee, like one other example, for the neophyte devotee, he has to follow rules and regulations strictly. And when someone develops spontaneous love for Lord, he need not do any rules and regulations. Sadhan Bhakti, Raganura. He is not attached for the rules. But devotee always thinks, I am a neophyte. That is why he always tries to stick in sadhana. Here, those who are arurukshu, for them karma. For arurukshu, karma. And those arurukshu already reached, already attained, that's sama. That means cessation of all material. The process of linking oneself with the Supreme is called yoga. It may be compared to a ladder for attaining the topmost spiritual realization. This ladder begins from the lowest material condition of the living entity and rises up to perfect self-realization in pure spiritual life. According to various elevations, different parts of the ladder are known as different names. But all in all, the complete ladder is called yoga and may be divided into three parts, namely Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. The beginning of the ladder is called Yoga Rurukshu. Yoga Rurukshu. Yoga Rurukshu. Here you can see Yoga Rurukshu. What is the difference? Yoga Rurukshu and Yoga Rurukshu, same thing actually. Shanti Sartopal at this same, the Visharga. So Yoga Rurukshu, Mumukshu, Bhukshu, Didikshu. And the highest rank is called Yogarura. Yogarura. Yogarura and Asya is Yogarura Sa upon. Concerning the Eightfold Yoga system, Ashtanga Yoga, attempts in the beginning to enter into meditation through revealed principles of life and practice of different sitting postures are considered pretty material activities. And all such activities lead to achieving perfect mental equilibrium to control the senses. When one is accomplished in the practice of meditation, he ceases all disturbing mental activities. A Krishna conscious person, however, is situated from the beginning of the platform of meditation because he always thinks of Krishna. And being constantly engaged in the service of Krishna, he is considered to have ceased all material activities. Next verse 4. Jada hi no indriyartheshu no karmashu anusajjate sangarva sankalpa sannyasi yogarurustadaccha. Now previous verse with yogarurukshu and yogarura. Naturally, question comes, okay, we can understand yogarurukshu, those who want to attain or started. You can understand that person. But he who has already attained, how you can know him? This answer is there. That is yogaruro. Who has attained? Jada, when he is certainly, no, not indriya in sense gratification. Indriya means sense, artheshu means for. Like purushartha. For what is the goal for life? Goal of life. Purushartha. Apadartha. So artha means for goal, for what I should do. So here in the artheshu, for sense gratification. In the artheshu means in sense gratification. No, never karmashu in jate one necessarily engages. Sarva sankalpa of all sannyasi, renunciation, yogaruraha, elevated in at that time, Uchate is said to be. A person is said to be elevated in yoga when having renounced all material desires. He neither acts for sense gratification nor engages in fruitive activities. When a person is fully engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, he is pleased in himself, and thus he is no longer engaged in sense gratification or in the fruitive activities. Otherwise, one must be engaged in sense gratification. Since one cannot live without engagement, without Krishna consciousness, one must be always seeking self-centered or extended selfish activities. This is Prabhupada's language. If someone thinks about himself, selfish. If someone thinks of for his family, his selfishness will be bigger. When someone is thinking about whole his nation, his extended selfishness. When you think about whole humanity, is more extended selfish. So that is a selfish, extended selfish activities. I think nobody, other than this Gauriya Parampara, nobody has given this type of explanation. All these welfare activities centered, which are not centered around Krishna, all are extended selfish activities. But outside people are proud of their extended selfish activities. But a Krishna conscious person can do everything for the satisfaction of Krishna and thereby be perfectly detached from sense gratification. One who has no such realization must mechanically try to escape material desires before being elevated to the top rank of the yoga life. Now, Problem is that Yogaruru and Yogaruksha, Yogaruru. What is the difference? Difference, we're able to control senses through mind. All senses actually performing under control of mind. So if one able to control his mind or control mind is able to control his senses, that person from Yogaruru to reach Yogaruruksha to Yogaruru. How to, no, the next verse is given. Uddharet atmana atmana, no atmanam avashadayat. Atmoivi atmana bandhu, atmoivi ripuratma. Here, atma word used in so many places. But one have to understand what is the meaning of atma in different places. In Vishwakosh, there are 7 meanings of atma. Atma means soul, atma means body, atma means self, atma means mind. So there are so many different types of meaning of atma. Here, uddhar atmana atmana. You have to deliver uddhar atmana. Through atma, you should deliver atma. What is this? Might be there 2 other meaning. Uddharat, one must deliver. Atmana, by the mind. Atmanam, the controlled, conditioned soul. Here, atmana means conditioned soul, and atmana means by mind. So by the mind, you should deliver the conditioned soul. By the mind, deliver the condition. No, never. Atmanam of the conditioned soul, avashadayet, put into degradation. Avashadayet. Atma, mind, evo, certainly he, indeed. Atmanaha, bandhu, friend. Atma, mind, evo, certainly. Ripu, enemy. Atma of the conditioned soul. One must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is a friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. Now question may come, how to understand what is the meaning of Atma here, what is the meaning of Atma there? Yes, it is difficult for us to understand. Those who know the meaning of the Sanskrit, only they can understand. Like, we know little means, Sangha means association. Sangha Tagat means one should not associate. Sangha Tag. But did it Sangha means association? And Sangha Tag means give up association. So Sangha Tagat. Sangha association, Tag means give up. So in the Sangha Tagat, for progressing Krishna consciousness, this Sangha Tagat means give up bad association. And when somebody wanted to degrade, this Sangha Tag means he should give up good association. So now, if you have some knowledge about that, then you can understand why it should apply. So here, the Atmana, where mind, where intelligence, body, those who have knowledge of Sanskrit, we should hear from them. We cannot concoct. Oh, here, Atmana is, this should be meaning like that. Not transaction. One must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. The word Atma denotes body, mind, and soul. Depending upon different circumstances. In the yoga system, the mind and the conditioned soul are specifically important. Since the mind is the central point of yoga practice, Atma refers here to the mind. The purpose of the yoga system is to control the mind and to drop it away from attachment to sense objects. It is stressed here that the mind must be so trained that it can deliver the conditioned soul from the mere omniscience. In material existence, one is subjected to the influence of the mind and senses. In fact, the pure soul is entangled in the material world because the mind is involved with the false ego, which desires to lord it over material nature. Therefore, the mind should be trained so that it will not be attracted by the glitter of material nature. And in this way, the conditioned soul may be saved. One should not degrade oneself by attraction to sense objects. The more one is attracted by the sense objects, the more one becomes entangled in material existence. The best way to disentangle oneself is to always engage the mind in Krishna consciousness. The word he is used for emphasizing this point. That is, that one must do this. It is also said, Mono eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshaya bandhayo vishaya sangha muktoi nirvishayam manah, from Amrita Bindu Upanishad. For man, mind is the cause of bondage and mind is the cause of liberation. Mind absorbed in sense objects is the cause of bondage, and the mind detached from the sense objects is cause of liberation. Therefore, the mind which is always engaged in Krishna consciousness is the cause of supreme liberation. Now, what is the importance of purport? Statement. Whatever Krishna said here, so Prabhupada is giving purport from Amrita Bindu Upanishad. The same thing as mentioned. So, purpose of purport to establish what is there. Purpose of giving purport. You are reading Prabhupada's book and giving purport. Purpose of giving purport to make understand what Prabhupada is written is perfect. But if is not your mental like that, don't try to give purport. Otherwise, you will be enemy to want to twist his system. Now, here the mind is the cause of bondage and mind is cause of diversion. This word again very powerful. Mind is the cause of bondage and mind is the cause of liberation. How and for whom? In the next question is given answer. Bandhuratma atmanastasya jeno atmaiva atmanajita anatmanastu shatrutte vartate atmaiva shatruva. Bandhu, friend, atma, the mind, atmana of the living entity. So, you see Prabhupada translation. First, atmana, the conditions of here, atmana means the living entity. What is the difference? Because when the question of delivering, that conditions, no need of pure soul, no need of question. Here, Bandhu atmana of the living entities, friend. When is mind is friend, there is no question of uddhara, deliver. Thus of him, Jen by whom, Atma the mind, ever certainly Atmana by the living entity, Gita conquered, Atmana of one who has failed to control the mind, to but Shatrutte, because of enmity, Vartate remains Atma ego, the very mind, Shatruvad as an enemy. Translation. For him who has conquered the mind. The mind is the best of friends, but for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. The purpose of practicing Eightfold Yoga is to control the mind in order to make it a friend in discharging the human mission. Unless the mind is controlled, the practice of yoga is simply a waste of time. One who cannot control his mind lives always with the greatest enemy, and thus his life and its mission are spoiled. The constitutional position of the living entity is to carry out the order of the superior. As long as one's mind remains an unconquered enemy, one has to serve the dictation of lust, anger, avarice, illusion, etc. But when the mind is conquered, one voluntarily agrees to abide by the dictation of the personality of Godhead within the heart of everyone as Paramatma. Real yoga practice entails meeting the Paramatma within the heart and then following his dictation. For one who takes to Krishna consciousness directly, perfect surrender to the dictation of the Lord follows automatically. So nice part. Nice. Bhagavad Gita is a boring book, isn't it? Okay, thank you very much. So again, Saturday and Sunday, was disabled class. Resume Bhagavad Gita Monday again. Okay, sure, Krishna Prabhu's
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandapanam. Thank you, Maharaj, for giving this wonderful class. When we hear from your mouth all this
I'm
difficult,
practicing English. I'm practicing English pronunciation.
all these difficult philosophies become very easier, Maharaj, to understand. Maharaj, I had a question from the third verse. From the purport, the word Prabhupada has used a word called mental equilibrium. Maharaj, I have always not been able to understand what Prabhupada is referring to when he's saying mental equilibrium, because in the purport itself, Prabhupada is saying that when one gives up the thoughts of material side and engages his mind in the service of the Lord and keeps thinking towards the activities which can please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Maharaj, when we refer to the word equilibrium, we understand the state of mind wherein forces are acting from all the direction in such a way that the object does not move, it stays at one place. Maharaj, so this is something which I was not able to understand and interpret in all these days I have been trying to understand Bhagavad Gita.
Instead of mental equilibrium, like if we know what is the importance of soul and matter. So if you, from the very beginning, we know what is the nature of matter. If something is spoiled, we will not be worried because we know it will die, destroy. Like Jatasya Dhruvamittu, Dhruvam Janmitasya. So there is mental equilibrium. You know, soul will never die. So if someone dying, you know he is not dying. Somehow he is staying. And when body perished, you know, your body will one day will uh, uh, what is called dissolve in different
Annihilated.
So that type of state is called mental equilibrium. Because he is not affected. It will happen. If I don't do, it will happen naturally. And when we know everything is done by Krishna, so why we should be disturbed? What is happening? So he is not disturbed. Krishna wants that is happening. That is devoted in always in mental equilibrium. What is happening bad? Tattva pampam shushamikshamaana. Krishna wants. That is why this material anything cannot give any trouble to a devotee. Because he knows this, whatever is good for me temporarily looks like, actually it is bad. In this material, good and bad, always bad. But due to illusion, sometimes it is good. And he is not expecting anything from this world, from the material world. That is as I have no expectation. So why I will be frustrated? Was the question like this? Or if not clear, you can ask the question again.
Maharaj, when we talk about equilibrium, generally this is a physics term. And when we talk about equilibrium, it means that the forces acting on any body from all the directions are cancelling each other and the body remains steady at one point. Now, if we see the forces on the mental level on any individual, there are two kinds of forces. One is the forces which the mind is trying to put on the body or the individual, and there are forces which are spiritual forces. For example, getting attached to the devotees, serving the Lord, means taking your mind from here and putting it somewhere else, or in the lotus feet of the Lord, as Srila Prabhupada mentioned. So now Maharaj, to understand that equilibrium means the forces should cancel each other, and the person should remain at one point. Means, as you mentioned, sthita pragya or Sitoshna Sukha Dukkha. So that I did not understand.
See, mental equilibrium, that person, mind is always in Krishna Sutta speak. Mental equilibrium, you don't need to always, as you know, physics, you are thinking about that equilibrium. Equilibrium is that person mind is always in Krishna Sutta. You will not go. That is not equilibrium.
Yes, Maharaj, that is also equilibrium.
It is not that force, both force should come. A devotee, that force will never come. So what does it mean? It is equilibrium.
Makes sense, Maharaj.
Because we know in equilibrium physics language, this force and they come. And the pure devotee, no force, other force is coming. So he is already equilibrium.
Yes, Maharaj.
And that physics, this force and that force, both are equal, then become zero. So you should not understand that. The material force and spiritual force come and become zero, the equilibrium. It is not like that. Don't try to see Krishna through science. Science through Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. Thank you. As it is.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Pranaam.